is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour number 3 of VSiN PrimeTime, and just like everyone expected, a shootout between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. Right now, your total sits at 228.5 as the Denver Nuggets, Matt Youmans, off to a very strong start. 30-20 is the score with 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter at Ball Arena. Christian Brown, your guy,
he made it.
Hitting a corner three.
I tell you, everything is going the Nuggets' way right now. You've got Michael Porter and Christian Brown making wide open threes. Hey, I don't blame the Thunder for leaving those guys wide open either, because they've been bricking shots. But that's why things are going the Thunder's way right now. Everybody's making shots. It's contagious. Sunday afternoon, everyone was missing shots. And I do believe that's psychological, by the way. When you see your teammates bricking shots, it tends to spread. 30-20 right now, Nuggets over the Thunder. Denver has flipped to the favorite, minus 2.5. Total 227.5. Denver minus 145 on the money line. So, Tim, did not take long to see a big shift in the numbers here.
Nope, not at all. So, once again, this game closed 5.5 in favor of the of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mostly 5s. There was a 5.5 at DraftKings. Closed 218.5. And at a media timeout with 2:32 to go in the first quarter, we've seen the total move 9 points from the closing number, and we've seen the spread flip favorites and move 7 points, or we'll call it 6.5 points from the closing number. 2.5 now in favor of the Denver Nuggets. So you got to ask yourself this question right now, Matt. The Nuggets can't seem to miss. The Thunder aren't playing poor offensively, but right now everything is going down for the Denver Nuggets. Do you look at an in-game under, or from what we've seen so far, does this just feel like one of those paces that is going to keep up this way for a good chunk of the evening? Already 50 points here in the first quarter.
That's a great question. I mean, when you're live betting, you have to think at some point, not all these shots are going to keep dropping, right?
Put this into perspective.
Well, at what point do you jump in here? Right. I don't know if you want to bet under 227.5 or wait a couple minutes. Maybe see you play. I would be looking to play under a high total here, Tim. I'm just not sure if right now is the right time to jump in.
Yeah, so let's as we we need like a button here, like the deal or no deal button. No deal. We're gonna wait. Right. We're gonna wait on that one. To put it in perspective, 50 points with 2:32 to go in the first quarter. The first quarter total was 53.5. So we are almost about to eclipse the first quarter over, and we have still 2.5 minutes to go in this first quarter. So very strong start from Denver. And, you know, we often see this, Matt, the desperation spot. Now, it didn't happen last night, right? The desperation spot for the Celtics, they it was tied at the half, and then they ultimately came away and pulled away in the second half and covered the number. But you look at that first half line in a 5-point spread, actually wasn't juiced all that uniquely. 2.5 was the first half number in favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder. First quarter number was 1.5. So if you did lay the Denver or take the Denver point in the first quarter, you're feeling pretty good right now of where that sits. 30-20 is the score right now there at Ball Arena. All right, quick update from the ice. We will have another game coming up tonight, and thankfully for us and you, Ian Cameron, the Canadian kid, he'll have some best bets, I'm sure, on Winnipeg and Dallas. That game going to get going at around 9:40 or so there in Winnipeg. 40 minutes in the books in D.C. 1-1 is the score. No goals scored in the second period. So the Capitals going to try to avoid what happened last night in our backyard, which was getting eliminated on home ice. As last night, of course, the Edmonton Oilers knocking off the Vegas Golden Knights in overtime. I think right in front of Derek Stevens, unfortunately. Had that put-back goal there on those glass seats that Derek has.
That's a tough game to sit through. A scoreless game for 60 minutes, and then, 7 minutes into overtime when it wasn't even a dramatic goal. No. It was kind of just a slop shot.
Just hanging out there, yeah.
It kind of went in and ended it for the Golden Knights last night. So I thought about going to the game last night. I'm glad I didn't go, Tim. I watched it on TV at home, and I listen to the radio call. Do you ever do that? Because I think Dan Duva, who's the radio
He's
play-by-play for the Knights, he's outstanding. He's got to be one of the best in the business. I haven't listened to all the hockey play-by-play guys, but he's got to be as good as it gets. So I turn off the volume on the TV, and I turn up the radio. And I listen to Duva call the game on the radio. And what's the downside of that is his call is about 40 seconds ahead of the TV feed. So I know what's going to happen.
You're like, crap.
Yeah. So he called the game-winning goal, and they score. Edmonton scores, and it's over. And I'm watching the guys are just skating around like no big deal. Okay. 40 seconds later, Oilers score.
There it is.
And it's over. But that's the thing. The radio feed's so far ahead. But do you ever do that?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. Especially, baseball. I love baseball play-by-play on the radio. As a Nats fan, I'll be honest, not watching as many Nats games this year because they stink. But I do like their calls a lot. So I listen to a ton of radio. I get the MLB app. It's like $20. You get all the radio calls for the entire season. So, yeah, definitely like to listen to the radio call. But, yeah, I'm a big fan of the Knights broadcaster. 30-22 is the score, minute and 42 to go in the first quarter. How about this start for Jamal Murray? 11 points so far, Matt. He's scored or assisted 14. He had scored or assisted on 14 of the first 18 points for the Denver Nuggets. And remember, he was questionable to play tonight, and he's been playing exceptionally well in a 31-22 lead right now for the Denver Nuggets as they are a 1.5-point favorite.
He's coming off a game where he attempted 27 shots. And he had to shoot because Nuggets didn't really have anyone aside from the Joker who showed up in that Game 5 in OKC. But he took 27 shots, and he's sick coming into tonight, and he still played an outstanding first quarter here for the Nuggets. Tim, I laughed a little bit there. It's interesting to me to watch how different the offense is when Murray runs it as opposed to when Russell Westbrook runs the offense. Because the defense has to respect Murray all over the floor.
Yeah.
He can shoot from anywhere. With Westbrook, you just kind of lay off the point guard and say, hey, if you want to shoot the three, go ahead. And Westbrook still wants to drive to the rim and, like a battering ram, try to drive over a defender on his way to the rim. Chet Holmgren with a three-point miss here. 31-22, Denver on top with a minute to go in the first.
Total was, I think we saw a 230 at some point here. It is now down to 223.5. So that total moving a little bit, and with the starters getting their normal rest. It's funny because we watch Jamal Murray, and sometimes just that, when you're on the floor, the juice is flowing. You feel great. The adrenaline, yeah. You get on the bench, and Jamal Murray looks like crap. Yeah, he is wrapped up in a towel. So it might be one of those situations. Just let him play the whole damn game.
I was getting ready to say that. Make him play 45 minutes tonight.
Might help.
He's going to sit out the final 3 minutes of this quarter, but it's 31-24 Nuggets with 23 seconds to go here in the quarter. Definitely a much more efficient offense when Murray runs it than when Westbrook runs it.
Total down to 222.5. We will see how this first quarter comes to a close. It looks like the Thunder will get another bucket and will make this thing pretty competitive. They're actually going to be a slight favorite here, Matt. I'll say this. I have never been a big believer in Russell Westbrook. I know he's had his moments, but more often than not, especially in key roles, you get a little bit worried, and you think back
to this. Joker brings the ball up the floor this time. He's like, forget it, Westbrook.
Gives it to Westbrook,
and he fires a three.
Of course he does.
Oh, man. 31-26. We got 6 seconds left in the first quarter. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but this has been, I'd say, a little bit disappointing for the Nuggets to only be up 5.
Finish here.
Nah, they scored, 1 point in the final 3 minutes of the quarter.
Yeah.
When Westbrook came in, I believe 1 point, right, in the final 2.5 minutes or so of the quarter after Murray left the floor. So if you're up 5 at the end of the first, actually now it's 31-28 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, you have to be, if you're Denver.
Nuggets were up 10.
And once again, you look at the live line, and it was 3.5 in favor of the Nuggets, and now, Matt, it is back to 3.5 in favor of the Thunder. So a strong run, I think an 8-0 run to end the quarter, and a lot of that coincided with Jamal Murray being sidelined here. And it's his normal rest time, but this Thunder team took full advantage. Jamal Murray in the first quarter, a plus 10, and they only have a 3-point lead. The bench of Peyton Watson, Russell Westbrook, and Julian Strawther played 3 minutes, Matt, -7 on the floor. So You asked for it. Who's going to step up outside of Joker and Jamal Murray? Well, no one yet, right?
Christian Brown actually has 7 points. He's 3 for 5, so he's done a decent job so far. Aside from that, no, we're going to have to get more out of Aaron Gordon. I think that's going to be the guy who's going to step up here. 31-28 end of the first quarter. And, Tim, as you watched that first quarter, it felt like the Nuggets outplayed the Thunder and probably should be up 5, 7, 8 points, somewhere in that range. Instead, the lead is 3 because of the way the Nuggets offense fizzled at the end of the first with Russell Westbrook at point. And by the way, Joker throws it to Westbrook at the top of the key, about 25 feet away, 27 feet away.
Like 5 seconds into the shot clock?
Early in the shot clock, and the guy just jacks up a three and bricks it. I don't think that's what Joker had in mind when he threw the ball back to Westbrook. See, you got to get that guy off the floor, but that's the problem the Nuggets have tonight is how many minutes can Jamal Murray play when he's sick?
8-1 run for the Thunder to close out the first quarter. 31-28, Thunder still have the first quarter lead. First quarter goes over its total of 53.5. Also, the Nuggets were a 1.5 point dog in the first quarter. They covered that. Quick update on the ice, Matt, as it is still 1-1 between the Caps and the Canes. That one in the third period now, so we will see how that one ultimately plays out. Hey, folks, check out our exclusive betting splits over at VSiN.com. They come both directly from Circa and DraftKings, and you can get access to those for as little as $9.99 as a VSiN Pro subscriber. Check out for what we have to offer. Our first month you can check out for as little as $9.99. Head over to VSiN.com/subscribe. We've got another game on the ice tonight, Stars and Jets. Ian Cameron will help us break it down next.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Keep it rolling here on a Thursday night. We've got NBA action in Denver, Colorado. Right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the free throw line and makes 1 of 2 to cut the deficit down to 4 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. A minute into the second quarter, 33-29 is the score. Tied up at 1 in the nation's capital, 13:34 to go in the third period. Total closed at 5.5. First period over hit for the first time in the series, but right now trending very under in that game right now, which would be the 4th under in 5 games in that series. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. Quick update, Matt, before we get to our guest on the Progressive Guest Line. Your live line right now has the Thunder as a slight favorite on the road at Denver. 35-31 is the score. Essentially a pick 'em right now on that money line. -120 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, -110.
I do know that
Nuggets.
Ian Cameron took the points with the Nuggets tonight, so hopefully we get there with the home dog.
All right, let's welcome in Ian Cameron, who joins us every Thursday. We bumped him up a little bit this week because we got a game on the ice starting in about 20 minutes or so north of the border. The Winnipeg Jets trying to stave off elimination against the Dallas Stars. Jets a slight favorite against the Dallas Stars. Ian, let's start with the total because it is kind of fascinating when you look at Connor Hellebuck and the struggles that he has had a good chunk, not going to say the entire postseason, but a good chunk of this postseason. So as you look at this particular game here tonight, Winnipeg and Dallas, what are you anticipating from a goal scoring, easy for me to say, standpoint?
Well, I think in this game, I would probably lean to the under a little bit. If you look at the games in Winnipeg, both of them stayed under the total, game 1 and game 2 of this series. Dallas getting the 3-2 victory in the first game. And then obviously we saw Connor Hellebuck clearly have his best game of the series in game 2. His only really good games in the whole playoffs have come at home. And he had one in game 2 of this series as he notched the 4-0 shutout for the Winnipeg Jets in game 2, the only win that Winnipeg's had in this series. We know the issues have been on the road, where the guy is now 1-11. Somehow 1-11 in his last 12 road playoff starts with a goals against average well above 5. That's simply not going to get it done. But they do have this game at home. Connor Hellebuck's best games have been here at Canada Life Center in Winnipeg. And I would expect him to probably play well in this game with his team's backs against the wall facing elimination. I still think Dallas is the better team. I know there's going to be a strong sentiment, and people I've talked to really making a strong case to, lay the price with the Winnipeg Jets as a small home favorite. But the way I see it, guys, is I don't know if Dallas has played their best game, and they're still up 3-1 in this series. Because you look at the flow of the last 2 games, and you could say that Winnipeg kind of carried play in the last few games, and yet Dallas still ended up victorious. So I'm reluctant to take Winnipeg when I think Dallas is going to win the series and close it out. Just a question of when, not if. But I do lean to this under, and I do like the draw. I think this series feels like it's due for an overtime game, a really close game, and I expect it to be. So most books offer the draw right now north of that plus 300. I think it's worth a shot here in a game that I think could have overtime potential.
All right, Dallas and Winnipeg Jets have been awful on the road, but they're at home tonight. Ian Cameron, the Canadian kid with us. Ian, last night I watched the Vegas Golden Knights get knocked out by Edmonton in 5 games, 1-0 in overtime. To kind of assess where the Stanley Cup playoffs are right now, in your opinion, and some bets you might be looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas, very disappointing. I thought Edmonton, though, full marks to the Oilers since game 3 against LA, where they came back to beat the Kings. It's been a totally different hockey team. Mm-hmm. And to think of how they were able to shut out the Vegas Golden Knights back-to-back games with Stuart Skinner, who had been awful in the first 2 games of the first round against LA. They did it with Stuart Skinner finding his game. And more importantly, they've done it with a blue line that when you look at it, they were awful in the first half of the Kings series. And we were wondering how the heck they're going to keep the puck out of the net. I mean, they're giving up 6-7 goals in those early games against LA. And now here they are in the last 2 games, wrapping up this series against the Golden Knights, shutting them out, and doing it without their best defenseman, Matthias Ekholm, by far. This is the guy that's probably their most able, sturdy, shutdown defenseman that the Edmonton Oilers have on this team. And yet they were still able to just put the clamps down on the Vegas Golden Knights, in the last 2 games of that series and win it. I've said this on my hockey show. I'll say it here. You don't want to underestimate a team's will and spirit when they've had their guts ripped out the way Edmonton did last year in Game 7 against Florida, where they were down 3-0 in that series. They tie it up 3-3, and then they fall 1 goal short in Game 7. They're playing with that collective, we want it. They're a hungry group. These Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl still leading the way, the 2 guys that had their hearts broken in Game 7 last year. I'd be scared to play them right now. And how about this stat for Stuart Skinner? Games 1 through 3, he struggled. Games 4 through 7 in the playoffs, last 2 seasons combined for Edmonton. Goaltender Stuart Skinner, 12-1 is the record now in games 4 through 7. He's now also 5-1 in closeout games. So say what you will about the inconsistency of this guy in net throughout the season. But with the money on the line and the games being their most important, he's played his best hockey in net for the Oilers. And if he continues to do that, and you get maybe the prospects of Matthias Ekholm returning for the Western Conference Final, I still think they're worth a bet right now to win it all.
At Bobano Bets is where you can find Ian on Twitter. Ian, you're north of the border. You're in Hamilton, which is about an hour away from Toronto?
Yeah, about 1 hour west. Yep, you got it.
So I got to imagine plenty of Maple Leaf fans there in your town of Hamilton, and can only imagine what the jubilation was like going up 2-0, winning both games at home against the defending Stanley Cup champs. Had not been to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2002. Haven't won the Cup since the 60s. And the Panthers have won the last 3. And, of course, last night was a debacle, 6-1 loss. Do the Leafs have anything left to keep things competitive tomorrow night down in Sunrise, Florida?
I don't think so. But, the Leafs are a weird bunch. It's unfathomable that with a team we're 9 years into the Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander core of this team. So they've been through the playoff wars. It's unfathomable and unacceptable that you come out that horrific in a Game 5 on home ice with a chance to take a 3-2 series lead. It's almost like they, dipped their toe into the water and tried to see, just ease their way into that game last night. You can't do that. Do you morons not know that this team won the Stanley Cup last year, the Florida Panthers? I mean, it's just absolutely absurd that they think, you know what, maybe we'll just take it easy and try to get a lay of the land. Florida came ready, and they were not. And Craig Berube lamented at that we just weren't ready in the first period. And this is the same old song and dance for Matthews and Marner in particular. Marner with a spinorama. He looked like he was doing a figure skating lesson in his own zone. He did a spinorama, no-look backhand through the neutral zone, giveaway that ended up leading to a Florida goal. That's one of the best players on the team doing that. And he's done that for years in big playoff moments. Matthews, for as great a goal scorer as he is, he's forgotten to score goals. He turns it over on the first play that leads to Florida's goal. I mean, it's just the same old thing for Toronto. The top players are not getting it done for them in the big moments in the postseason. They're very Cowboys-ish. They're the Dallas Cowboys of Canada. It's really what they are.
I like that.
The notoriety, they're popular. Everyone knows the Toronto Maple Leafs, like everybody knows the Dallas Cowboys. But what's the parallel the last 30 years? No playoff success. Can't get it done in the big games. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Toronto right now. That being said, if this team's worth anything, worth their salt, if there's any lick of pride, character, and heart in this team, they'll come out guns blazing. And I don't mind taking a shot with them in the first period. And I probably will do that because you're getting a nice plus money price. But trusting them to win the game, I'm not ready to go that far.
All right. Sounds like a Herb Brooks motivational speech there for the Maple Leafs. You got to come out guns blazing in the first period. So keep that in mind.
Bring me in to talk to them.
Hey, Ian Cameron, let's close it out here. Final 90 seconds. What are you looking at in the NBA playoffs? So let's start with Game 6 between the Celtics and the Knicks.
I think the Knicks are going to close it out because, I think last night was that exhale spot. They got the 3-1 lead. They probably took it a little lightly knowing the Celtics were without Jason Tatum, but give the Celtics credit. There's still options offensively for them. Derek White stepped up big time. Still got Jaylen Brown. Peyton Pritchard can go off. And I think the Knicks kind of took it for granted. They better not take it for granted tomorrow night because you do not want to go back to TD Garden for Game 7. I think they will avoid that. I know the Knicks, we're talking 30 years, too, of this franchise not winning many big-time home playoff games the last 30 years. But I think tomorrow night's got to be the night for the New York Knicks, and I do expect them to be able to get the job done. I think Boston had their one game rise up without Tatum. I think it'll be difficult to go on the road and do that again.
He is Ian Cameron, helping us break things down on the ice and the hardwood. And before we know it, we'll be talking some football. CFL season should be going, right? Pretty soon?
Pretty soon.
3 weeks, guys. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Ian Cameron is firing on the UFL, too.
Of course. He does it all. He does it all.
We're going to talk UFL tonight at 8:05 Pacific time, so stay tuned.
I think that's when Joe Serralo takes over. Hey, Ian, always appreciate it, man.
Great to talk to you guys. We'll talk next week.
We got a tie ball game in Denver. 37-37 is the score between the Thunder and the Nuggets. We'll get you updated on what's unfolding in Game 6 in the Western Conference semifinals.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Especially the Nuggets.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Oklahoma City Thunder, once down 10 late in the first quarter, are on if I could do the quick math, which is always a worrisome proposition, 25-11 run. They were down 30-20. They now lead 45-41. It'll be 45-43 here in just a moment, Matt. And the live number is what it was at the close or the start of the game, I should say. 5.5 is where we're at, 45-43, OKC and Denver right now with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, this number of DraftKings have moved all the way to Nuggets minus 2.5. I think it briefly hit 3.5. But now back to OKC being a 5.5-point favorite with a 45-43 lead. But the thing is, the scoring has slowed down. The live total really has not dropped that much, Tim. I think the live total peaked at 227.5. Right now we're at 225.5. It feels like this game has really slowed down. I will say the Nuggets, I'm going to say over the last 9 minutes have scored a total of, 14 points? So the Nuggets have really slowed down offensively. And that's how they took that 10-point lead and turned that into a 2-point deficit. So we'll see if they can finish the first half strong, but it felt like Denver for the first 9-10 minutes of this game just dominated the play, but finds itself down 2 now with 5 minutes to go before the half.
All right, I just placed a bet on under 225.5. I was going to wait till halftime, which might be the better plan, but I do think this thing is maybe about to start to slow down a little bit. 45-43 is the score. I do wonder right now if we see the return. Jamal Murray, 11 points in the first quarter, no points here in the second quarter. Curious how his game goes, right? Was it all adrenaline, easy for me to say, out of the chute here with him dealing with that illness, whatever it is? And is he going to struggle, and is he going to run out of gas? I mean, that's the thing that we talked about prior to the start of this game, right? Oklahoma City at times in this series has looked tired, and they didn't look tired out of the gates. That first quarter, they were tremendous, and then they went to the bench of Watson, Westbrook, and Strawther. And right now, Matt, as you had been asking for, who's going to step up? Peyton Watson, 8 minutes off the bench, minus 10. Russell Westbrook, 5 minutes off the bench, just a horrific three-point attempt at the end of the first quarter, minus 7, and Julian Strawther, the pride of Gonzaga, minus 8 off the bench. So not much production coming from the bench minutes so far from the Oklahoma City Thunder.
No, but the positive, when you're talking about the Nuggets, the positive would be Christian Brown's got 9 points. Michael Porter has 5. So a couple guys that I've been critical of have stepped up and scored a little bit. Aaron Gordon's a guy I think's got to play better. 14 minutes, he's only got 3 points right now. But Gordon, offensively, you would think would step up and assert himself a little bit more. The Joker, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He has no turnovers in the first 16 minutes. And Joker and Murray playing a two-man game a lot of time. In I think that's kind of when the Nuggets are at their best in the half-court offense, when they got Joker and Murray kind of playing that two-man game. They've got away from that a little bit, Tim. They were doing that the first 9 or 10 minutes, and then obviously Murray went to the bench to get a rest, and the rotation gets juggled a little bit, and I think the Nuggets completely lost their rhythm offensively. Well, I said they scored, I think, 14 points in the last 9 minutes of this game.
Yeah, it was. It has definitely slowed down here. We'll see if they pick it up at some point. 4 minutes and 52 seconds to go in the third period in Washington, D.C., still tied at 1. We saw both of the goals scored in the first period, no goals since. And right now you're looking at a live total in the nation's capital at 3.5 plus $5 to the over right now in Canes and Capitals, minus 810 to the under. So the belief right now, obviously, that this game will go to overtime and it will be 2-1, the final one way or the other. The Canes a slight favorite there at minus 130. Capitals at minus, now it just changed, minus 105. So the Caps and Canes looking like it's going to be what we saw in Vegas last night. A team on the brink of elimination, forcing overtime at home, and we'll see if the Capitals can have a different fate than the Vegas Golden Knights. About 15 minutes away, Matt, the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. We've seen a little bit of Winnipeg money come into the market as Winnipeg is a minus 135 favorite at DraftKings, and the total sits at 5.5. Game 1 and Game 4 saw scoreless first periods. Games 2 and 3 went over the total in the first period, and we're seeing 1.5 minus 110 both ways there on that first period total. Quick look at the betting splits, Matt. 66% of bets on the Star. Oh, let me do money line. 51% of bets on the Jets, 67% of the money. So more money on the Jets to force a Game 6 between the Stars and the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I don't have much of a handicap on this, except for the Jets have really been struggling on the road in the postseason. Well, they 0-5. I think the Jets are 0-5 on the road in the postseason and getting blown out in a majority of those games. But back home tonight, I would think the Jets be a decent bet to keep this series alive.
We will see if they force a Game 6. Right now, waiting for the winner of this series are the Edmonton Oilers, who lost their first 2 games of the playoffs, and since then have gone 6-1, and the only loss coming in the final second of Game 3 at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. A 5-point lead right now for the Oklahoma City Thunder over the Denver Nuggets. Matt, I want to circle back to what we saw today at the PGA Championship. Johnny Vegas, your first-round leader, and you put out a tweet earlier today, and you'll have it up on your column as well. Give us the update on how many folks were firing away on the very unlikely first-round leader in Johnny Vegas.
It's a Cinderella story out of nowhere, Tim Murray, and it's Johnny Vegas 575-1. Those were the odds on Johnny Vegas at the close in the PGA Championship here at Circus Sports today. 575-1. Sam Cooney, who's going to be on the show with us tomorrow night. Sam said Circa took, quote, 5 small bets on Johnny Vegas, 575-1. The first-round leader odds on Vegas, 200-1 at the Westgate Superbook. Jeff Sherman, regular guest on this show, golf odds. Jeff said the Westgate took 0 bets on Johnny Vegas at 200-1 to be the first-round leader. To even further that a little bit, Jeff said the Westgate took 0 bets on Johnny Vegas, Ryan Gerard, and Cam Davis, who were the top 3 on the leaderboard. 0 bets on those guys to be the first-round leaders. So, Tim, I think when you look at the top 10 in the PGA right now, it's a bookmaker's dream because if it continued this way through the weekend, you've got no big names, no stars. The betting public's favorite players nowhere to be found. And that's what a bookmaker wants. You want an unpredictable tournament with so-called upsets, guys, long shots winning. As long as you don't have big tickets on those long shots, that's what you want. So I think a bookmaker would love how the first round worked out. As a bettor, I think you've still got some hope with some of these guys. I'm going to say like Terrell Hatton, who I've got a 55-1. If you bet Scotty Scheffler, he's at 2 under. He's 5 strokes off the pace. He can certainly get back into it. Who else, Tim, do you think?
I guess
how about Colin Morikawa, Ludwig Oberg, guys like that? You feel like those might be – I think those might be players that a lot of bettors out there are looking to play in that 20 to 30-1 odd range right now. Guys who have been in contention, won big tournaments, and could make a move up the leaderboard over the next 3 days.
Morikawa and Oberg at 1 under, shot 70s today. Tony Finau shot a 70 today. What about Rahmbo? John Rahm shot a 1 under today. Yes. And then Bryson DeChambeau, I know a guy that many people, I put a bet on him. I think you did as well. Up and down day for old DeChambeau. He had a birdie on 15, birdie on 17 to get him to 1 under, and then a bogey on 18 to wrap up his round. So he is now 7 off the pace. And the stat that I think Justin Ray pointed out, 34 of the last 35 winners of the PGA Championship have been within 6 strokes of the first-round leader.
Scotty Scheffler's with him 5.
Bryson DeChambeau? 7. Yeah. By the way, the Carolina Hurricanes, ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes away from moving on to the Eastern Conference Final. They just beat Logan Thompson there to go up 2-1. So with under 2 minutes to go, right now, not ideal. And the Caps have just pulled Logan Thompson, and they will be going 6-on-5 here to try to get into the second round, or force overtime, I beg your pardon, right now. So a goal from the Canes to make it 2-1. We're going to talk in the next hour to Wes Reynolds. We'll get his thoughts on not only PGA Championship, but I'm sure he's excited about his beloved Indiana Pacers. And folks, speaking of them, the NBA playoffs are heating up, and our partner, Profit X, is offering the best odds all playoffs long. ProfitX is a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states. You'll be able to make sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against sports books. Exchanges guarantee you odds on average of 10 to 20% better. You can even request your own odds. Download ProfitX today. Use the code VSiN, VSIN, and earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. The Canes trying to put the finishing touches on the Caps in D.C.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Denver battling back after Oklahoma City made it a 10-point lead, 58-12.
It was 58-46.
That's right, 58-46, and now a little bit of a run here for the Denver Nuggets in the closing minute of the first half. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. It is VSiN Primetime here on a Thursday night. Handshakes in the nation's capital as the Carolina Hurricanes moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Matt, they were a pretty significant favorite, north of $2, and a lot of questions I was asked, well, this is disrespectful to the Washington Capitals. I was like, I can't speak to it, but clearly there is belief in there in the betting market that the Canes are the side. And the indicator for me, and this is no knock on the people who do, I'm sure, fine work over at the Four-Letter Network, but I saw their write-ups, and 16 of the 24 picked the Capitals to win this series, despite them being the series underdog. And what does our friend Chris Felica like to say? Dog with fleas. And that's what it felt like. And that is definitely the case here. The Carolina Hurricanes win tonight 3-1, score a late empty netter, and they are moving on to the Eastern Conference Final, where they will face the winner of the Maple Leafs and Panthers series, which is currently 3-2 in favor of the Florida Panthers. Game 6 tomorrow night down in Sunrise, Florida. 55 seconds to go, Matt, in the first half. The Oklahoma City Thunder up 5, and there is a review on the floor. Your live total, I just need to stop messing around with this stuff. As soon as I touched the under, whoop, it went right through the roof. 239.5 is now where we sit between the Thunder and the Nuggets right now on the live total, as I believe we're going to get some free throws here at some point. It is 58-55, I believe, as they're going to call, after this review, I imagine, a flagrant on Jalen Williams, as he got Jamal Murray, I beg your pardon, with a bow. No, not going to call it flagrant, but they are going to get a bucket here. So the Thunder had a 12-point lead, Matt, and now it's been whittled down to 3.
And Jamal Murray drives in for the layup there, 58-55. With under a minute to go, SGA on the bench here at the end of the half for the Thunder while Denver rallies. And like you said, it was a 12-point game, so Nuggets making a big run here does make you think, look at this game a lot differently at the half because it was starting to get away, Tim. At 58-46, this game was really starting to get away from the Nuggets. And Jamal Murray and the Nuggets trying to finish strong here. I'm trying to figure out what happens in the final 12. It's tied. This game is tied.
Wow.
At 58. And I'm not sure if we're at the half or not, but the Nuggets are going to hit a 3 here to tie the game right before the half.
You know, I'll say this. I was looking at the DraftKings board. I wasn't looking at my apps. And I think there was a bit of a glitch in the DraftKings board. Their time was not coming off. So I'm like, why the hell is the total so high? I don't understand this. Well, the total is still a little bit higher than where I was at. After this three-pointer, we're at 231.5, and we're all tied up at 58 right now.
Tied up. 61-58 Thunder. OKC going to hit a 3 right before the buzzer here. So OKC a 4.5-point favorite for the game. Live total 231.5. So SGA, or no, who is that? That's Dort?
I think that's Lou Dort, corner
Lou Dort
3.
Hit the 3 from the corner, and OKC going up 3. But not good news for you if you played the live total. 231.5 is what it's up to now. I mean, there in the last 20 seconds, you had 2 threes. That was not good for your total. Not good for your
Not
under.
great. Not great at all. Lou Dort, corner 3. Matt, do you want to take a guess on what the first half line was?
The first half line was either 2.5 or 3, wasn't it?
2.5.
Yeah.
Three-pointer at the buzzer, courtesy of Lou Dort, and we head to the locker room, 61-58. Tell you what, that was a damn entertaining first half of basketball between the Thunder and the Nuggets. So you're looking at a live...
Nuggets were up 10, then they fell down 12, then they tied it. Now OKC up 3 at the half.
And once again, this is why we talk so much about live betting on this show. We sit here, we watch it. Now, you could do like what I did and try to thread the needle, find the right time to take the under, and things get hot at the end of the first half, and you see a total go up to 231.5. So pre-flop, this game was 218.5. That has moved 13 points since where we closed or started this game. And the spread, on the other hand, closed 5.5 at DraftKings, 5 rest of the market, Matt. 3-point lead for the Thunder, and the expectation is this is going to be a pretty competitive second half. Right now, your live line at DraftKings has the Thunder minus 4.5. Would you look, if you hadn't had a pre-flop position, which you do have, you have the points with the Denver Nuggets, watching what we saw there, would you look at the dog here in the second half against the Oklahoma City Thunder?
I'm gonna say this. I've got Nuggets plus 5 for the game. I don't feel great about it. I wouldn't necessarily encourage a bet on the underdog at this point. It kind of feels like that at some point you're concerned that Jamal Murray being ill tonight, this team's going to run out of gas in the fourth quarter. We've seen it happen before. We saw it in the previous game in OKC. I'm not discouraged by what I saw from Denver in the first half, but I don't like my bet anymore now than I did pregame. So really, I have nothing to recommend here at the half. I actually think under 232.5 might be the play right now.
Should I go back in?
No, I don't think so. I think you've already got 2 bets on the under. You've probably got enough.
I've got enough pain for one night. First period about to get underway in Winnipeg. Win or go home for the Winnipeg Jets as the Dallas Stars are trying to make it back to the Western Conference Final for the 3rd consecutive year. They're up 3-1. Interesting nugget from our friend Ian Cameron earlier this hour where he said he didn't believe the Stars were playing all that particularly well, and yet they still have a 3-1 series lead. So Stars and Jets underway in Winnipeg, and the Jets went off as a slight favorite in this one. Looks like the closing number on the Winnipeg Jets was around minus 130, I want to say, in this one. So the Jets and Stars are underway. Circa actually closed at minus 134, so a little bit of late money came in on the Jets. Total 5.5, juice minus 110 both ways, and the first period total 1.5 minus 10 both ways. 2-2 in this first period. 2 to the over, 2 to the under. Games 1 and 4 went under. Games 2 and 3 went over. So we're underway. Dallas and Winnipeg. Carolina, if you're just joining us, did win against the Washington Capitals. That series goes 4 games to the under. 4 of the 5 games go under, Matt. And the Carolina Hurricanes move on to the Eastern Conference Final, where they will take on the winner of the Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the Canes and Oilers both wrap up their respective series here the past 2 nights, both coming on the road. And the Oilers did it in overtime. The Canes get a late goal with 2 minutes to go in regulation. Coming up in the next hour, we'll talk a little more PGA Championship with Wes Reynolds. We'll get his best bets looking ahead as, once again, a surprising leader in the clubhouse as Jonathan Vegas is your leader, Matt Youmans, there at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina. Justin Ray let us know that Jonathan Vegas is the 15th player in the last 50 years to lead or co-lead a major after any round for the first time at the age 40 or older for Jonathan Vegas.
How old is Johnny Vegas? 40? 42? He can't be that old.
You man, he's
been
40.
around for a while, but I thought Johnny Vegas was like
40 years old.
I was going to guess 38, late 30s. I've called him a poor man's Tony Finau for many years. Finau and Johnny Vegas tied at 0 for major wins. That's the first time Johnny Vegas has had the lead or co-lead after any round of a major. And what's his 45th attempt?
45th
I think
attempt.
in a major.
Yep.
So 200 to 1 odds to be the first round leader, and 575 to 1 odds
45th round. Sorry, 45th round.
45th round. Yeah, it wouldn't be 45 majors for him. 45th round for Johnny Vegas. First time he's had the lead or co-lead. And, Tim, I'm going to make a bold prediction, hot take. Johnny Vegas is not going to win the PGA. He's not going to be at the top of the leaderboard on Saturday morning when you set up here at Circa to do your show, or Sunday morning. But good for him to lead this tournament after the first round. I'm predicting, when I ask Wes Reynolds next hour, what's Johnny Vegas going to shoot in round 2 of the PGA? Wes is going to say 71.
I'm going to write 71 here.
Okay.
I'm going to put it on this. You can't see it. But.
Today he shot 64, which is 7 under par. I think Wes is going to predict that Johnny shoots even par on Friday.
Did you have a bet on Rory McIlroy?
I did. Just a small bet on Rory.
So,
top 5. A small bet on him at top 5 at plus 110. I didn't want to bet him to win. I just didn't want to believe all the hype on Rory coming in this week. I don't have a bet on Scotty Scheffler, believe it or not. Nothing on Scotty at this point.
Good news if you picked Rory. There is a precedent for a player being 10 back after round 1 of a major and winning.
You got to go back to 1896.
Harry Vardon in 1896. Yes, 1896, the Open Championship.
It has happened.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.